So this is our plan. Okay, let's start talking about the mysterious first 5 seconds of the film. I'll start by explaining how people interpret this story in general. This is a brief summary of the film which I took from the official website of Nippon TV Network. The night of September 21st, 1945, Seita dies inside Sanomiya Station. The only thing he has is a candy tin. As the employee removes his body, bone fragments spill from the discarded tin, and out-of-season fireflies fill the air. 3 months later, on June 9th, Kobe City is struck by air raids. Seita lets his mom with a weak heart evacuate first, and then follows her later with his sister Setsuko, only to find his mother dead. Seita and Setsuko go to their aunt's house in Nishinomiya, but their aunt gradually becomes hostile to them. She doesn't even feed them properly. Finally, Seita decides to leave the house. He starts a new life with Setsuko in a cave beside the lake. That's the story. That's what it says. So, the story roughly goes like this. But there's more to it. As the air raids continue, people grow desperate. Seita can't feed Setsuko anymore. Setsuko grows weak and eventually dies of malnutrition. Seita cremates her by himself and dies at a station in Kobe. That's the whole story. About 50% of the viewers think that this is actually the story. After it was broadcast, I looked through all the tweets with Grave of the Fireflies hashtags, and I was surprised that so many people didn't remember the very last scene. The last scene is in Kobe. Take a look at this. Sorry, too close. There's Seita and Setsuko sitting on a bench. Setsuko is asleep and Seita is looking down at the buildings and the busy streets of Kobe. I think the scene is at the very core of this piece. But most people don't remember it. They don't seem to understand the meaning of it either. After Seita dies at the end, Setsuko comes to greet him, and before their souls depart completely, they stay for a while to look at us, the living. And that's how the other half of the viewers interpret it. So they all think that the two of them are looking out over Kobe City as ghosts. That's their interpretation. The others don't even go that far. Most of the people don't even remember this scene. That was my biggest surprise, looking at all the tweets. So in that sense, it's kind of an occult film and it's a bit scary. I personally think that this ending is really the core of this film, but most of the people didn't even remember it. It was really surprising. But in this lecture, we'll go a lot deeper than this and go into the details. I'll explain the flow of the opening scene. So the first cut, I won't explain it all, but we'll take it in order. In total darkness, we see the ghost of Seita looking straight at the camera. I died on the night of September 21st, 1945. He says this line in his Kansai accent. Afterwards, the ghost Seita watches himself in real life. He looks like he's about to die, but still breathing. We can hear him panting. But he eventually collapses. Then the station employee arrives and confirms his death. He says, another death. And as he looks through his belongings, he finds a tin in his pocket. Not knowing what it is, he dumps it. Bone fragments spill out of it, and out-of-season fireflies emerge. Next. A young girl appears among the fireflies, the ghost of Setsuko. She stands there looking at her brother's dead body. As she tries to get closer, someone stops her from behind. She turns around and sees her dear brother still alive. They take each other's hands and walk from right to left and gradually disappear into the field of fireflies. And that's where the title appears. Are you crying already? Wow, most of you do cry. Well, this is largely how it ends. I want you to take a look at this. We went through in such a hurry, but if you look closely, we missed a spot. This place here. This scene where Seita is looking at his own dead body. There's a huge secret behind it. That is... if you break it down into pieces, it goes like this. After he says, I died on the night of September 21st, 1945, he looks at his lower right. Then a pole appears, and there's something in front of it. Do you see it? Is this better? This is the pole, and there's something in front of it. But it disappears quickly, and Seita in real life, who is about to die, fades in. And then the scene continues. So, what is this thing? Actually, this is the extended version of the third frame, so that you can see it better. In front of this pole, before the real life Seita appears, this is shown on screen. This curve shape is obviously modern. It's an ashtray. You can tell by the design that it's a modern ashtray. As soon as I saw this, everything made sense. This ashtray is saying that Seita is still alive. He is in an afterworld of some sort. This film was made in 1988, so that means his spirit is still there at that very spot, even in 1988. It means that after all these years, he is still tied to that spot and being tortured by that memory. To look for proof that supports my theory, I saw the Blu-ray version. And there was a photo of location hunting in Kobe. And if you look at that photo, there's that exact same ashtray right next to the pole. This is a different pole, but they placed the ashtray next to this one. The shape of the pole is a bit different, and they included a modern ashtray in the scene. As you can see from the photo, they did the location hunting in 1987. So Grave of the Fireflies is not a story of the past, but rather starts in the present. Everybody thinks that they go back to the present at the end, but that's wrong. The story starts in the present. Seita's spirit still remains in this world, and he plays back the last 3 months of his life over and over again, billions of times torturing himself. Now, why is he doing that? Some of you already said it, but it's kind of like the residual haunting phenomenon. These spirits remain at a certain location but travel on trains as well. So this film talks about why this spirit is still clinging on to this specific place, to this specific incident for 43 years. After 43 years, why does he still have to relive the most excruciating memory of his death? This film explains it all. As soon as you know this, the story turns into a totally different thing. This is not a sad story. It's more like a mystery story, trying to figure out why he was haunted by this painful memory over the past 43 years. So Takahata intentionally shows this ashtray at the very beginning. It's clear! Because it shows the present in the last scene, I immediately thought that the beginning would do the same. And then when I went back and checked, there it is, the ashtray. For Takahata, it's something obvious, but it's hard for most people to even notice it.